Let's talk about the Cecil Hotel. This hotel has a reputation for being one of the most haunted, horror-filled, death-filled hotels in Los Angeles. It was built in 1927. During this time, Los Angeles was a very popular area. There were trains coming through. It was near a train station, and it was very low prices, so those people could stay there. A few years later, the Great Depression hit, and the area that the Cecil Hotel was in was named Skid Row. Now, Skid Row became an area where homeless people lived, around 8,000, I believe. People were dropped off there after being released from prison and mental institutions. So a bunch of criminals, killers, including Richard Ramirez, drug users and drug dealers stayed at this hotel. In the 1930s, there were 6 reported suicides. I do a little trigger warning before I really get in. I'm going to be mentioning some pretty brutal deaths, so just to let you know. People would ingest poison there, shoot themselves in the head, throw themselves out of the window. In 1934, Louis D. Borden, an army surgeon who was staying there, slashed his throat with a razor. Again, this is going to be very disturbing. 1944, 19-year-old Dorothy Purcell awoke in the middle of the night with very bad stomach pains. She went to the bathroom and, to her shock, gave birth to a baby. In her mind, she thought it was stillborn, that it had not survived. So she threw the baby out of the window. She did an autopsy on the baby and it was actually alive. So, like I mentioned in the Elisa Lam video, a surplus of serial killers actually stayed there, including Richard Ramirez. It was reported that he would go there, take off his bloody clothes, and then walk up to the top floor, and there were 15 floors in this hotel. He would walk up covered in his bloody underwear, and it was normal. That was a normal thing to see in this hotel. No one said anything, no one reported it, and Richard thought this was like his home. There was another Australian serial killer that stayed there named Jack Unterweger, and he also thought the Cecil Hotel was his home as well. In 2007, a new owner decided she wanted to renovate the place, make it a place where tourists could stay for a low price, and she named it the Stay on Main Hotel. And the Stay on Main Hotel had its own kind of lobby. There were people who stayed in the Cecil Hotel, like rented out the rooms. It was like the first few floors were for the tenants that lived there. The next 3 floors were the Stay on Main Hotel, and the rest were the Cecil Hotel. So the people who were staying in the Cecil Hotel, like the criminals, the drug users, and etc., could come across to the people staying in the Stay on Main Hotel through the elevators. And then the whole Elisa Lam case happened. Go watch my other video if you want to hear about that. But yeah, this hotel has a terrifying reputation, so.
This is what happened to 13-year-old Rachel Mellon Skemp. Rachel was born on Tuesday, October 13th, 1982 in Melrose Park, Illinois. When she was 3 years old, her parents, Jeff and Amy, divorced, and Jeff moved to Dallas, Texas, while Amy stayed in Illinois with Rachel. After the divorce, Amy began dating a man named Vincent Mellon. They eventually got married and had 2 children together and moved into this house in Bolingbrook, Illinois. Now, Rachel is described as being a bubbly person with a great sense of humor. She always managed to stay positive, she was the life of the party, and always was the most beautiful girl in the room. She was an honor student, she was into recycling and nature, her favorite subject at school was science, and she eventually wanted to become a school teacher. On Tuesday, January 30th, 1996, 13-year-old Rachel was at school having a pretty normal day. However, as the day went on, her friends noticed that she was crying by her locker, which they thought was odd because she was always cheerful and very happy. So they approached Rachel, they asked her what was wrong, and she said that she had a problem, but that she would take care of it. She didn't really elaborate, she didn't tell them what problem she had, that's all she said. The following morning, on Wednesday, January 31st, Rachel decided to stay home from school because she had a sore throat and she felt sick. Mother Amy went to work early that morning and left Rachel in the hands of her stepfather Vincent, who was unemployed at the time, so was able to stay home all day and watch Rachel. At 10:45 in the morning, Rachel called her paternal grandmother Lucy and thanked her for the Christmas presents she had sent. This was a quick 4 to 5 minute phone call, and Lucy says that nothing seemed out of the ordinary until Rachel got suddenly quiet. So she asked Rachel, "Is he there?" referring to Vincent, and Rachel said yes before telling her that she needed to hang up the phone. After her phone call with her grandmother, Vincent says that the 2 of them played Nintendo before Rachel decided to go upstairs and take a nap in her bed. This is when Vincent decided he was going to take the family dog for a walk. Now, it was freezing outside. It was 20 degrees below zero, so it wasn't ideal weather for someone to be outside and walking their dog. But that's what Vincent decided he wanted to do. He left the house at around 2:30 p.m. but didn't come back home until 30 minutes later at 3 p.m. He says the reason he took so long is because the dog actually broke free from its collar to go chase a rabbit. He tried to get the dog back on the leash, but he wasn't able to, so he left the dog and just figured that the dog would eventually make its way back home. At 3:15, his youngest daughter Ashley comes home and immediately goes to Rachel's bedroom to greet her. However, when she walks into her sister's room, she realizes that Rachel is gone. She goes to tell her dad Vincent, but apparently he doesn't do anything about it. And an hour after that, the dog was eventually returned home with the help of a neighbor, and then 30 minutes later, Amy finally arrived home. When Amy arrived home, her youngest daughter Ashley told her that Rachel was missing. This is when Amy began to call all of Rachel's friends asking if anyone had seen her, but no one had. That's when she decided to call 911 and report her daughter as missing. Vincent says that the last time he saw Rachel, she was taking a nap in her bedroom and was wrapped in a blue blanket. She was wearing yellow sweatpants, a pink top, and red house slippers. Okay, part 2 is up now. Ellen Skemp. When police searched her room, 2 pillows on her bed and the blue blanket that she was wrapped in were missing. However, all of her winter clothes, her shoes, and her coats were still there, along with her purse and her Walkman. There was also no sign of chaos in her room. It didn't seem as if there was any type of struggle or forced entry. Vincent says that when he went on a walk, he did leave the front door unlocked, so that's probably how someone got in. Now, at first, police were not too eager to get on the case because they thought that Rachel had just ran away. This is because a year earlier, in 1995, Rachel had actually ran away from home. She had left a note explaining that she was running away because she feared she would be blamed for something that her siblings did. So she ran away to a friend's house, and she was gone for almost 12 hours before she called her grandparents and asked them to pick her up. So because of this incident, police believed that she was running away again. They also thought that maybe she had run away to Dallas to go live with her father, Jeff, because she had told him that she wanted to live with him, but after they confirmed that she was not living with Jeff or with any relatives, then they began to think that she may have been abducted. As police were investigating, they noticed that Vincent had scratches on his arms. So they asked him about these scratches, and he said that he got them by working on his car. Now, police were already suspicious of Vincent, especially after they searched Rachel's bedroom and ended up finding her diary. In the diary, they found an entry from August of 1995 where Rachel says that Vincent kissed her and touched her inappropriately. He told her that he was doing this to teach her a lesson, to show her what a predator is, and to teach her how this shouldn't be done until she's older. Along with a journal entry, they also found a book called Daddy's Kiss. Now, some reports say that the book is innocent, it's just a book about a father and daughter relationship. Other reports say that this book talks about incest. So I'm not really sure about that, but along with the diary and the book, police also found a steak knife underneath Rachel's bed. So now he was abusing Rachel, he was the last person to see her, he had scratches on his arms, and on top of that, he had a history of domestic violence. In 1990, when Rachel was only 8 years old, Amy and Vincent got into a physical fight. He hit her, he pushed her down the stairs, and he verbally threatened her and Rachel. She ended up filing a restraining order against him and a police report, but eventually dropped all those charges and got back together with Vincent. So there's just a lot of information stacked up against Vincent. They also did a lie detector test on Amy and Vincent, and Amy passed hers, but Vincent failed his. They also took a DNA sample from him. They took a semen sample, saliva, and hair sample, but they haven't really revealed any information about that. To this day, in August of 2022, Rachel has still not been found, and no one has ever been charged in her disappearance. Vincent and Amy moved to Tennessee and are no longer cooperating with the Bolingbrook police. They also might have changed their phone numbers or have disconnected their phone because they're not answering anyone's calls. Rachel's real father, Jeff, moved from Dallas, Texas, all the way to Bolingbrook, Illinois to search for his daughter. If you know anything about Rachel's disappearance, please contact the number on the screen and let's bring her home.